Here we go. Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Right now I got a special guest. I got no other than Sammy the Bull Gravano. Sammy, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Sammy the Bull Gravano, and we became friends. Me and Brian, we have similar backgrounds. I love the guy. I follow him, and I've done one show with him, and I'm doing another one. I'm going to put it out on my podcast as well, so my audience sees him, meets him, knows who he is, and we discuss, and we're good. We're cool with each other, and I'm ready to go.
Okay. So, like I said, right now is Sammy. You know what? Let's get going. And the question I want to ask you: can you tell us about your early life and how you became involved in organized crime?
Yeah, well, I was dyslexic as a kid, so school really was a nightmare for me. I joined the gang, and in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, the Mafia was everywhere. And I love telling that story because black people have the same story. They're broke, they're coming out of a ghetto area or something like that, and they get hooked up. Who's doing drugs and who's doing this, and you look up to some of them and you get hooked in, and before you know it, there you go. So I did the same thing, and I hooked up with the Mafia. I got drafted into the Army when I was 19. When I came out, hooked up with the same bullshit gang, and then went on into the Mafia, and I was there for years and years and years. I became the underboss under John Gotti of the most
Okay.
powerful organized crime family in the country. And before you know it, I got 22 years of my life in prison for it. And so I did my time, changed my life, came out and doing different things.
You know what? To me, even right now, I remember as far as like saying when you went to the military at 19, and from my understanding, I heard you had a little knuckle game, man. You was kind of nice with your fists.
Yeah, as a street fighter, I was good. I started boxing, for a while. I used to go down to Gleason's gym, and I was training to box. A little too small to box and fight. My arms are short, but I was pretty good with my hands. But then I went into the military, and I gave it up. But I was like more of a street fighter. I'm like Mike Tyson. I'll bite your ear. I'll bite you. I'll do it all, bro.
You know what? It's like whatever it takes to win. That's what people do not understand. Like when we come up in that environment, like to me, I became Glaze. I was a typical kid. I was a typical square kid. But after getting beat up or robbed a few times, I didn't like that feeling. So right now, I didn't like being victimized. So then I start victimizing people, and people do not understand that. If you can't beat them, you join them or you become them. So that's what really happened to
Exactly.
me.
Exactly. Like I said, I was dyslexic, so I was bad in school. Guys would make fun of me, and girls would laugh and stuff like that. And I say, all right, 3 o'clock is coming around. When I get you out of school, boom, I'm gonna knock your ass out. So
You gonna give them something to laugh about.
right.
Okay. Hey, what I want to ask you is this, man. Can you discuss the involvement in the murder of Paul Castellano and how it impacted your life?
Well, it's a long story, and it's coming out. It came out a whole bunch of different ways. But Paul Castellano was more of a racketeer. I was a thug, gangster type of thug, and he sold the family out as far as money, and as a racketeer, he made a lot of mistakes. And the guys who were on the bottom, didn't like the mistakes he was making, and then John Gotti got in trouble. Him and his crew for dealing drugs. They were in serious, trouble. And he looked out for me, Frankie the Chico, and a few other guys, Joe Piney, the old man Joe Piney, for help. We helped him, and it became a war. And he lost the war. We made John Gotti the boss. Frankie the Chico became the underboss. I was a captain, and then I became the Gonzalez family, and then I became the underboss of the family. And then in 1990, I went away
Okay.
and changed everything.
And even right now, like you said, you went away. And right now, we can both relate to this question that I'm about to ask you because, once again, that was a life changing event. And the question is, How did you become a government informant, and what led you to the decision to cooperate with law enforcement?
Well, we had a case. John Gotti got caught on tape talking to Frankie LaCasio. I wasn't on those tapes, but he was talking about me. So I got busted in the case with him. And he made a decision during the case. He talked with the lawyers, he talked with everybody. And being he was bad mouthing me behind my back a little bit, he wanted to use that with the lawyers to say, it really wasn't John Gotti. It was Sammy the Bull killing people and doing this, that, and the other thing. And try to throw the weight on me to say, poor John Gotti, you hear him complaining. He lost control of this animal. So when I heard the whole story, I said, John, do you really want to do that, bro? I said, we're brothers. We're fighting a case. They're looking to put us in jail. That's their job. And but me and you are supposed to stay tight. I'm not even on this fucking tapes, and you want to dump the weight on me? He said, Sammy, that's the way it is. I'm the boss. The boss has got to go free. I got to go on the street, and you got to go away. I told him, you sure you want to do that? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, fuck the life, to myself, not to him. I said, fuck the life, fuck him. I'm leaving, switching sides, I'm out. And that's exactly what I did.
And you know what? Even right now, whereas my situation is similar, and sometimes you find yourself being more loyal to a person than they are to you. And like once you see that, like, to me, it's nothing in the world that I wouldn't have done for mine, you know what I'm saying? Like the guy that was the boss at the time. I done kill, I done did everything, whatever he say. Even when I got picked up from being on a run after like 90 something days, and I got there to and get extradited back to New York, MCC New York, and got there with him, he gave me a list, a witness to get taken care of, despite I'm in MCC with him. But I had a crew called Money and Murder. They were still out there. But once again, like you say, sometimes you can be more loyal to people than they are to you, and people don't get it. And I had to wake up. That was the second time when he told me, well, you go to trial first. Let's see what they got against you. Then I go to trial. That was the second time that man saved my life, and I appreciate that. And the next question I'm going to ask you, what was your experience in witness protection, and how did it change your life? Because a lot of people got the wrong perception about this witness protection stuff.
I hated it. When I had money, I went to prison. I got a 5-year sentence after the whole thing was over, which was a real slap on the wrist. Actually, I was involved in 19 murders. I was involved in 3 Mafia wars. I was a real slap on the wrist. The government treated me pretty good. And so I was going to Arizona where my family was, and I wanted to go there. I didn't want to have nothing to do with the witness protection. I didn't want to change my name. I didn't want to do none of that shit. But the government called me up and they said, Sammy, you were involved in 19 murders. You got all kinds of charges against you. You got 5 years, bro. Don't you think you owe the government a little something? Go in the program. Otherwise, you're going to make the government look horrible. Let them pound their chest. You stay there for a while. And, give the government back something. So I said, I did a little less than 5 years with the good time. And I sat with them and I said, all right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you another year of my life in the program. You could change my name. And I went in the program to more or less appease them. I didn't give a shit. I didn't want to be there. But I was in there for 8 months and I hated it. I didn't want. I don't like changing my name. I didn't like any of that. And after 8 months, I bumped into a woman, and she recognized who I was, and they found out, and they came to me and they said, "You got to start all over." I said, "No. I'm in 8 months. I promise you a year. I'll give you 4 more months. I don't care that she knows. It doesn't. I don't care." He said, "But we can't. It's our rules. We got to do that." I said, "I'm not doing it. You can't force me to stay in the program." And they said, "No, it's voluntary." So I said, "Well, then give me the papers. I'm signing out. Unless you want to do whatever you want to do with me for 4 more months. And then I'm leaving anyway." So they gave me the paper. I signed out. I took a plane. I went to Arizona with my family. I quit. And they changed my name to Jimmy Moran instead of Salvatore Gravano. So I changed my name back to Salvatore Gravano.
Okay.
They weren't happy about that. And I stayed in Arizona for about 4.5 years. I got busted again. And then I was sentenced in an ecstasy case. I was sentenced to 20 years, lifetime supervised release, $100,000.